Hey everyone, this is episode 60 and marks the end of season 2 for my podcast. Yeah, season 1 might have been 50 episodes. It wasn't really supposed to be a season, and I said I need a little break here and there, everybody. I need a little damn break. So here we did season 2 and just knocked out 10. A couple of my highlights this year was getting to meet one of my rap heroes, Sendog from Cypress Hill. Was a cool episode. Had a good one with my guy, Brad Lee. What it is, Brad. Austin Eckler is one of my favorite dudes, man. He's going to be getting married at the end of May. Good luck to you and Melanie, my friend. Also, my episode with John Orlando, man. That episode really spoke to me. It really spoke to me, and I hope it spoke to you as an audience about losing a parent. It was a pretty deep one that we don't I don't usually talk about stuff like this on that show. So got a lot of great feedback about that. Today is an episode. It's me, one on a million, I guess. How many ever you that are listening? It's one on you. All right. That's what it is. We continue to grow here, guys. And I'm gonna go right into it right now with me talking. But what I want to invite you to do is while I take this little break, boom, John Cerasani's The Partner is why I'm taking the break. It's going to be airing soon on John Cerasani TV on YouTube. And think about like The Apprentice meets Shark Tank meets my social media. If you could think that, all right. You want to tune into that on John Cerasani TV on YouTube. Subscribe there. Let's go. Thanks for being part of the audience.
Welcome to 2000% Raise, hosted by the man who took down billion-dollar companies while sitting at his kitchen table, John Cerasani. Left that big job in my 20s to become an entrepreneur. Everyone said I would fail, but I got winner in my core. Sold my company to private equity and the money poured. I got millions times galore. Not bad for a kid from Schaumburg, right?
All right, welcome to another episode of the 2000% Raise podcast. I'm here in our New York studios, Gotham Studios in Manhattan. And not a bad setup here, not a bad setup as we continue our national tour. We're not just doing it virtual anymore. We're not just doing it in Chicago anymore. We're bigger than just LA. We're in New York, and I'm happy to be here. You know, this is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode, and it was really driven off of a recent social media post that I did. I really just made the suggestion that if you rent a home, that might be better than buying a home in some situations. And all these W-2 employees out there can't fathom the concept. You're an idiot, John. And I want to just take a pause here. Why are they saying it? Because they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s, they're in their 60s, or they have parents that are in those ages and have been W-2 employees their whole lives. And their entire net worth is in the equity of their home and their 401k. So I said, this is what middle class people do. Rich people look at things differently. And in fact, in some cases, it might make more sense to rent a primary residence instead of buy. Oh my God, the travesty. What the fuck is the travesty? Because I said do the math? People are like writing, do you work for freaking BlackRock? You're trying to buy up homes and rent them and gouge us. Oh my God, you trolls. Shh. I'm here to help you. Listen closely. All right? You live in the city in a 2-bedroom condo and you're 28 years old and you plan on moving to the suburbs when you're 31 or 32 years old. And when you get married or something, you might want to rent. Well, why? I could just rent it out when I move out to Naperville, and I'm going to own my place in Bucktown, and I'm going to get rich off of that while I work my W-2 job. All right, buddy. Let me know how that goes. Oh, it's in an up-and-coming area. Where? Logan Square? It's been up and coming for 30 years, guys. It's never arriving. I kid about Logan Square. It's a nice place to be. But you're not, to buy a place for $200,000, thinking you're going to turn around and sell it for $1 million in 5 years, it just, it ain't happening in Chicago, I'll tell you that. It's not happening most places. It could happen, but just falling into that as as a person buying real estate. It's just, I don't see it. Okay. When I was young, I thought real estate was the way to go. Buy. And I'll kind of walk you through kind of my real estate journey that's kind of led me to this conclusion. All right. When I was in my 20s, this is before the fallout, right? Before the recession, before real estate took a dump, back when mortgage brokers were giving everybody God, talk about an industry that needed regulation. Holy shit. All these mortgage brokers they called it stated income, meaning just say whatever the fuck you want your salary to be on the application. No verification, stated income loan. Okay. 40-year interest only. This motherfucker right here, I'm making $120,000 a year. You know, they're giving me a $650,000 house in Schaumburg, one of the biggest houses in Schaumburg. I'm young, I'm married. We have no business buying a house like this. 4,000 square feet in the Essex Club. Look at us, man. We've arrived. Holy shit, look how great we are. It's like 06-ish. What a dumbass move that was, dude. What a dumbass move. That was 05, actually. And end up getting divorced. I got this big-ass house. Decided eventually to move to the city. I bought the place for $652. Ended up actually selling it for sale by owner for $800,000, but it was right at the end. If this nice Asian family actually ended up buying it from me, and I remember thinking to myself, if I didn't stumble across them, or if they didn't stumble across me, I never would have sold that house. They just happened to want that damn house, and unfortunately, they were one of the last people that overpaid. I benefited from it, but like that house was probably going for $450 2 years later. Okay, because of the recession. Now you didn't have to sell it; it was worth more than $450, but it definitely wasn't worth $800. I doubt that house is $800,000 now. Okay, well, the other end of that though is what was I doing in the meantime? I was buying a place in the city. I was moving to Old Town. I bought a place on Sedgwick and Evergreen, right outside of Cabrini-Green. Well, Cabrini-Green's coming down. This area is going to prosper. Holy shit! I bought a place for $710. 3 blocks east is the Gold Coast. That same place in the Gold Coast would have been $1.5 million. Well, when Cabrini-Green projects come all the way down, my house is gonna skyrocket. Hell yeah! Never happened. Never freaking happened. In fact, it got worse when the Cabrini-Green projects came down because all those people were displaced, and a lot of them moved into these apartments that weren't part of the projects right across the street from my house. So my immediate neighborhood actually got worse. All right? So all these realtors with their freaking crystal balls telling you all this bullshit. All right? Now I'm sitting here feeling bad for that Asian family out in Schaumburg that paid $800,000. I don't know what their financial situation is. Maybe they're rich and it doesn't matter. I don't know. But I'm feeling bad for them for overpaying, like I ripped them off almost. Well, I just got ripped off too. You know what I mean? Because that house I ended up selling years later for $550 in Old Town. Okay. Now that house ended up being a great rental, but it was a pain in the ass for me. I moved over to the Trump Tower. I rented that place out, and this was an interesting dynamic. I was renting my place out. This is 2010. I moved into the Trump, decided to rent in the Trump to see if I liked it there. Rented my place out in Old Town. I'm literally taking my Old Town rent money and using it to pay my rent at the Trump. And that's when it hit me. I had never been a renter since college. But this is when it kind of hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. This renting thing is all right. This makes a lot of sense. And I want to say we're around $4,000, $4,500, again, 2010-ish. I'm living in the Trump in a 2-bedroom on the 77th floor, badass view, and I'm literally collecting $4,500 from my renters in Old Town, taking that money, paying it to my landlord at the Trump. The idea was I'm just going to rent there for a year, see if I like it, then make a purchase and buy in there. Well, that year comes up, and I start doing the math. You add up your association fees, you add up your property taxes, the interest that you would have been paying out on your mortgage, okay, the maintenance, all that other bullshit. Well, fuck. Renting is a better deal. In fact, my landlord's probably taking it up the ass on this one. She ain't making any money on this. I'll just keep freaking renting, okay? Now, If that place appreciates, she's going to benefit from it, obviously. But what if it depreciates, which is exactly what had been happening in the last 2 or 3 years? People forget that shit. All right? So all these W-2 employees out there, oh, he's an idiot. Oh, my real estate's king. Blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, dude. Okay? You can make the argument. But all I'm saying is do the math. You got a problem with me telling you to do the damn math? What's wrong with you? You're walking in here like it's a no-brainer. Stating opinion as if it's fact. What's wrong with you, bro? Chill the fuck out, okay? Well, I stay on the Trump for 2, 3, 4 years. Well, now by 2013, must have been, I don't know. I want to say 2013-ish, 2012, 2013-ish, rent caught up, all right? The landlords were, because there was a frenzy to get your places rented out after the recession. There were so many places being foreclosed and all this other shit. Landlords just wanted to hang on, right? So you're getting cheap rent races. Well, and this was probably an anomaly of a time right at that point. But I end up, rent finally gets up to, I think she raised me up to like $6,500 one year. And I'm like, all right, party's over. I was at $4,500. Now I'm at $6,500. Well, Trump Tower still had some developer units for sale. I was one of the last people to buy a developer unit. Really big place. This is a different one than I was renting, much larger. My financial situation, my company was growing at that point too. I could afford a better place. Buy this badass unit, 180-degree view of the damn city, looking up the river, looking up the lake. And instead of being on the 77th floor, I was down now on the 55th floor, but a much bigger unit. But in addition to that, I always was under the impression that the higher the floor, the better. And there is something to be said. That wow factor when you walked into the 77th floor, it's like, holy shit, you're up there with the airplanes, all right? But now I found this place on the 55th floor. You're still way up there. But Chicago is a beautiful city from an architectural standpoint. You could look out your windows and actually admire the architecture and the beauty of the city. We're at 77. You're in the clouds a lot. A lot of times you're in the fucking clouds, which is a shitty view, by the way. It looks like it's black. It looks like the curtains are down. Okay? But even when it wasn't cloudy, you're so high, it looks like little, Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, right? We're on the 55th floor. You could actually see what's going on. It was a little bit different perspective. And I think maybe it doesn't have that initial wow factor of the 77th floor, but longer term, there's always something to look at. So I was happy with that unit. I bought that unit for $2.2 million. I love how I paused, acting like I had to think about that. I know exactly what I bought that motherfucker for. $2.2 million. Okay? One of the last developer units. A year later, the exact same unit, because I'd bought the last one. There was only 17 of these units in the whole building. It's a badass unit. Was going for $2.7 million. So I could have sold a year and a half later for $2.7 million. All right? Things are looking good. This is a great investment. Why would I sell, though? Why would I sell? I love it there. I got to live somewhere. Okay? Well, I don't sell. Okay? 2014, 2015. Then 2016 comes. And real estate in Chicago keeps going up, except for one building. The building that's named after the dude that just ran for president and won, that half the country loves and the other half of the country hates. People are now boycotting and protesting in front of the Trump Tower in Chicago as if Donald Trump lives there, which always baffled me. Because this is when everyone's calling him a racist. It always baffled me. It's Trump International Hotel and Tower. And I can tell you right now, Peter, for instance, was one of the doormen on the residence side. Peter is from Congo. Peter and me would have conversations about blood diamonds and what it was really like there. He has a thick African accent. The building is filled with employees like Peter. When those protesters would show up religiously, calling Trump a racist, it was the Peters of the world that had to deal with these motherfuckers. Consider that. Consider that I was taking my daughter to school when she was in, I think 4th or 5th grade, and there's a group of women across the street with signs saying, try to touch this pussy. Don't grab my pussy, my legs, my crack. Wait, no, what is it? The chant was, my legs, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. They were screaming across Wabash Avenue at the Trump Tower at 7:15 in the morning while I was taking my daughter to school. Luckily, we're not Amish, and my daughter thought it was hilarious, as did I. But a lot of people would be very offended by that. Okay? This is the reality, though, guys. Because of everything I just mentioned there, the values in the Trump Tower plummeted. You can't predict when I moved there in 2010, 2011, that this would happen. You're not controlling your own destiny. All right? That $2.2 million place that I could have sold for $2.7 million to this day, 2024, goes for about 1.7. That said, I think it's the best value in Chicago. They changed the name of that building to the Obama Inn, it'd probably go for $20 million, but I'm not lobbying for that. Actually, I would lobby it. The Obama Inn, join us, and then I'll sell, and then someone else could buy it for $20 million, and let me know how that goes. In 2018, I got custody of my son, and he moved up here from Dallas. And my daughter was getting older. She had lived with her mom in Chicago, and I had her move in with me too, just so she could be by her brother more, but also just like she needed more help in school, and I was kind of more academic with that kind of shit than her mom was, and it just made sense for both of them to live with me. So ultimately, we ended up making the decision to move out to the suburbs, and I bought a big house in the suburbs. All right? I'll tell you what, guys. I'm out in the suburbs, and I buy this big-ass house, all this land, and it's like, oh, yeah, now I'm going to put a pool in. Oh, the people that bought it before me didn't have window treatments. Let's put window treatments in, and, oh, let's build this trail in the back of the yard, and, oh, my God, the swimming pool. Well, we got to regrade the backyard for the swimming pool. It's literally 50 grand here, 50 grand there, 75 grand here. Oh, the pool, 300 grand there. Like one thing after another. And as a renter, you don't have to worry about this shit. All right? As a renter, you don't have to worry about this shit. Okay? Now you got to live your life, and probably couldn't have got a house like this probably couldn't have got a house like this for rent, to be honest with you. And I did it for my kids, so I'm not really complaining about that. But I got to tell you, it just makes me open my eyes. The best years as a resident was the years I rented at Trump Tower for those 3 or 4 years. I didn't have to worry about shit. And being on that side of it and not being prior or not being after, those freaking years as a renter is this freedom. It's this freedom. All right? You know, and yeah, you lose out on the potential equity, but I just gave you multiple examples of ways you're going to lose money. You know? And if I did the damn math on my house, how much would that thing have to appreciate for me to make back all the damn money I spent on shit like window treatments and everything else? And then the people I bought it from, we have a nice 1,200 freaking bottle wine cellar in there. I wouldn't have put that in. The price of the house doesn't add that in. The appraisal's not taking that into consideration for the most part. So basically, I'm getting that thing for free. Probably cost them 90 grand to do it the right way that they did. I have no idea what it fucking cost. But let's say 90 grand. There's 90 grand that I didn't spend that they spent. They have an office with build-ins. I love that office. I probably wouldn't have done it as nice as they did. Shit. There's 60 grand. Free money. Free money for me as the buyer. Just like whoever I sell it to, they're probably going to be getting a free pool. They're definitely getting a free trail in the backyard. They're definitely getting free window treatments. You know? Can't be like, oh yeah, add an extra 50 grand because we got fucking window treatments. What the fuck? Can't do that shit. All right? All shit that you don't have to consider as a renter. All right? So listen, guys, I know I piss some people off sometimes, and my social media, people think that I do this shit on purpose. I actually don't. I merely said to everybody to do the math, and that still triggers people. because I said rich people look at it this way that I'm describing. Middle-class people are so wound up in the fact that their net worth is in their house that they can't fathom a concept that's different than that. All right? That's all I got. Thank you for tuning in today, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Let's go. That concludes another episode of 2000% Raise with your host, John Cerasani. Make sure you're following on all social media platforms. Chai.